Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for more of the POS Show on Stones Radio Networks. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for Dodger Dogs. They suck. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for more of the POS Show on Stones Radio Networks. listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Coming up on Stones Radio Networks, the POS Show, Phantom on Sports. Stones Radio Network's The POS Show, Panama Sports. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters.
Every night I go to party, every
You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters.
Broadcasting live from the Stones Studio and Dog Kennel. It's time for another edition of the POS Show. That's right, you found the POS Show, Phantom on Sports. I'm Stones McCoy, executive producer and button pusher. And now, for the man who's been around since, well, before anything was ever invented, the legendary Phantom.
And that would be my cue to start the POS Show for another Monday. Hello, Stones McCoy.
Well, hello there, buddy boy.
Hello there, buddy boy. That's about what I expect from you.
Well, you see how I'm dressed?
You got the overalls on.
Yes.
You just got done doing manly work, so I salute you for that.
Thank you very much.
Today's show, let me take a look at today's rundown. Oh, man. Are you, no way. Okay.
I saw the
man.
rundown.
Are
It
you
was
kidding me?
retarded.
It was, okay, it was whatever it was. It was what you said. However, there's much, much more to it than that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Much more to it than
Like
that.
the guy running in front of our video feed as we're live on the air on Stones Radio Network.
A lot of people like to do walk-ons because we've, Make-A-Wish.
Jackass.
We let people make donations to Make-A-Wish, and we let them walk on our show. And
he finally got his wish.
That was as you wish right
He
there.
finally got his wish.
That was a little bit different. Mr. Toy.
Congratulations to
So
him.
today's show, we will talk Phantom on Sports. We will talk Phantom on Stuff. We will call out many members of the Stones Radio Network's family, including the boss himself. We will do all kinds of things. I will try to navigate the world as I find it. I came to you today early as a troubled soul.
Yeah.
As I left my house early so I could go by a particular gas station, which, by the way, if you have a 76 card, which I do, and I don't believe anyone else in the world does.
Not anymore.
There are now 2 stations in Placer County, basically, that you can go to. There were 3. One of them's closed, as I found out before the show.
Yeah, man.
So I'll be driving the little red car all over the place after the show, trying to find gas.
I think we found you gas.
I think we did, and we didn't figure my SIM card out.
Well, no, because
I don't know how to do that.
I
I didn't figure that out.
Your phone keeps saying SIM not found.
It says no SIM card.
No SIM
And
card.
so I looked it up. I finally looked something up on it because I know what a SIM card is.
Uh-huh.
The thing is every time you see a SIM card on TV,
Yes.
it's the secret agent taking it out and putting in a new one in 3 seconds flat.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
It took me that long to look it up, okay? How did he know how to do that? So I looked it up, and it says, if it says no SIM card, you need to take it out and then put it back in, or maybe you need a new one. I said, okay. And how do you get it out of there? Well, you stick a paper clip in this hole and try to push it out. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'll break the entire phone. I don't know what I'm doing.
I see what. Okay, now I understand what you're getting at.
that was the part that made me hesitant. There is fine motor skills are not my forte.
I'll
Never
do it
have
after
been.
the show. I got you.
I don't know if I can allow that. And then I found I got a hole in my shoe right there. I've got a piece of tape in there. I mean, it's been a great day already. And I spend it all with the wife because she's working from home. So again,
you are an effing mess.
Again, I've had it. It's almost like being at Disneyland every day.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
None of the rides are working though.
Well, it's fantasy. Well, one of them isn't working. We know that. Okay. So I'm being friendly to you, but I've got to call you out.
Yeah, go ahead. Call me.
Because you are the head of a giant conglomerate here, Stones Radio Networks, and you've been in the business of broadcasting something for a long time now.
I'm not sure where you're going.
You've worked with several different gentlemen that know what they're doing, and they've imparted some of that knowledge to you.
Yeah.
And yet, you still don't realize that it's not a great idea to put out a promo for your show while you're waiting in line to get a COVID test when your co-host is a very, very old man. So I saw that.
Need a disclaimer.
I thought maybe it was kind of a personable, video from you.
Yeah.
Without the waiting in line for the COVID part of it.
Well, that's
so
what I was doing.
You're telling me, as an affected group,
Yes.
I'm not tier A, or 1A, 1B, 1C. But in Placer County, I think
You're
I'm
1B.
I'm 1B.
You and my wife are 1B.
So you're throwing a 1B at me. You're throwing I'm in my line for my test at a 1B.
Yes, I
and
am.
you've got another 1B out there.
Yes, I am.
So let me ask you something: 1B or not to be, and also, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, first of all, I wasn't, because I had to be there at 8:30 this morning, so I wasn't thinking. So that's the first thing off the top. Second thing, you're 1B.
I'm 1B.
You're half vax.
I'm half vax, yeah, as I'm sure the Mafia is also.
So this test just told you got nothing to worry about, because this guy is COVID-free.
Who is?
This guy right here.
You just got the test. How do you know?
That I've already gotten the results.
Well, I'm not worthy. I'm
Thank
not
you.
worthy.
Thank you very
I'm not
much.
worthy.
Thank you very
You
much.
might have put that in the message.
Well, I didn't get them when I took the test. I wasn't getting the results. I was taking the test.
Okay.
It is now 6:05.
Yes, I know.
On the same day, I took it at 9:0 or 9:10.
Okay.
So I've gotten the results now.
That's still pretty fast.
It is very fast.
So
But they had to rush these because they're.
may I inquire
You
as to
absolutely-
why you went to get a test?
Well,
I know that you did this a couple months ago
yeah.
when we were kind of getting into the Potter season. You kind of did that kind of like we were all going to be working in close
Correct.
proximity.
We had
so
and if you remember, we had a close contact situation in which
Absolutely.
I went and got a test, and it came back negative.
Yes,
and that
it
was
did.
the last time I did this.
yeah,
This time around is Stones is going in for a colonoscopy.
yes, I know that, and I actually gave you some. Well,
Yes,
please
yes,
go
you
ahead.
did.
We'll get back to that.
And I'm going. So I'm going for both scopes, the one down the throat and the one up the butt.
I just thought,
Okay,
thought about what I told you and how stupid you are, and you usually know everything about everything, and I never can tell you anything.
No, you can't.
Except in a very small, select area. The rest of the world, you tell me everything, and I just shut your quote-unquote ass down.
You did shut my ass
Please go
down.
ahead.
So I have to go both of these scopes in
Endoscopy and a colonoscopy.
endoscopy and colonoscopy. So it's required before, because it's considered a surgery. It's required before
Excellent.
that I'm a COVID-free patient.
That certainly makes sense.
So that's the whole reason for the test. I was getting crap on from my best friend in Georgia and for
you
getting
have a friend in Georgia?
I got friends all over, bro.
That's true.
Friends
That's
in low places. That's for damn sure.
That's, you
You
don't
know.
have to go there.
Well, it's true though.
But, okay, so that totally makes sense, and I'm glad you're COVID-free, and that's fantastic.
Thank you.
What made me chuckle is that you were going to get that colonoscopy, and you were telling me you are currently doing some renovations here at Chateau Stones.
Yes.
And you have our boy the toy is helping you out because you're both very skilled workmen. I will say that about you.
Okay, thank you.
So you're working
if it's
together,
me
and
or
so you were
him.
telling me the plan for the rest of the week. And
Yeah.
This
procedure is on Wednesday.
Is Wednesday afternoon,
Yes,
and you were telling me how you were going to have. Well, I'm probably going to have to stop working Wednesday at 1 because I have to go get the procedure, and I let it percolate in the brain a little bit because there's a lot of cells in there that don't work as much as they used to.
That's why you can't get the SIM
A lot
card out.
a lot of them are at the buffet right now, and they're eating dinner.
Yes.
So I thought about it a minute. And I said, if it's like any colonoscopy I've ever had, and I've had a half dozen. I mean, I do them. I call it elective surgery,
Right.
Because I like to feel close to people.
Hey.
Anyway,
What do you guys got going on Saturday?
turn on my side, and you're going to do what? Knock me out.
All right.
So I said to you, if it's like any colonoscopy I've ever had, you're going to probably be drinking some stuff. And you said, yeah, I know, that's cool. And I said, well, the thing is,
I totally forgot.
the thing is that usually there's different preparations that different places do, but I think usually they start the night before at 6 o'clock when you start drinking the stuff, and
Yes.
then you take another really early in the morning. You have to drink it again.
Yeah.
So, depending on the constitution of the person, and I follow the Constitution. Depending
Use
on the
that word well.
Constitution, there's going to be some action going on in Shea Stones, unlike you've ever experienced. And I just didn't see you being able to be all chippy Wednesday morning and going to work
I forgot.
because you are not going to be all chippy and going to work.
No, in fact, I forgot that I was supposed to be hovering around a bathroom.
You will not forget.
At that point in time for 48 hours.
Well, not 48 hours, but certainly 12.
Well, the night
Well,
before,
and
and then the
after.
procedure, and then there's
Yeah.
a period of time after that I
Yeah,
was
but
told I got to be careful with.
The whole thing is, The worst part is the preparation before. The
is
colonoscopy itself is nothing.
Yeah.
You go in there and they put you in. You go, "Hey, Stones, how you doing?" You go, "I'm doing good." "Oh, I'm done."
Oh yeah.
That's what happens.
Well, and
But-
so you've had this done. So I have a question though.
No, wait.
Go ahead.
I just want to chuckle again.
Yes, go ahead.
Because you thought, well, I better cut out about 1 o'clock on Wednesday. I mean, the appointment's at 1:50. I'm getting a colonoscopy, so what I'll do is I'll just get done working, take a shower, zip over to the old hospital, and
Just
get
bust my
that done.
balls.
It'll probably be done about 2:50. I'll be back here by 4, and we can knock stuff out in that bathroom, huh?
Well, first of all, I need to get the toilet installed ASAP.
Buddy.
I didn't even think
May I
about
say
that till
may I say
just
something
now.
right now?
Yeah.
As soon as we're done,
Yes.
we are going right into that room. We are calling Chris back.
We got to get that shit
We're going-
taken care of.
We're calling a 24/7 place.
Yes.
We need toilet installation.
Toilet is-
Stats.
Stat. I'm with
Stat.
you. I'm with you. I'll
Okay,
go buy
so
it
what
right
is
now.
your ask Mr. Colonoscopy?
So my question for you is, so you've done all the prep and
yes,
and
I've done it. I think I've done it 3 times.
Okay.
The first time was like 15 or 20 years ago, and they didn't really care. They went, "Oh, you look okay. Turn over. Okay, we'll take a." They didn't have cameras.
Polaroid.
They took a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And, shake it like a Polaroid picture. And I said, "Hey, yeah."
I volunteered to do that for many people. They've
Shake
rejected that.
Take pictures of
Take
the
the picture, yeah.
Yes, I know you have. Unfortunately, it was at the park on the weekends at night.
Hey, stop telling people that.
So go ahead.
So the question is, so you've gone through this whole procedure.
Yes.
Have you been under conscious sedation?
And in my 20s, I was.
That's what I told the lady when she said it to
What's
me.
up, baby? What's up? I
I'm
grew
in
up in-
constant.
I grew up in the 60s, bruh.
I'm still in that phase.
So what do you mean conscious? You mean when the
Conscious
procedures?
sedation. And so what they do is they put you, and they don't knock you out anymore.
You're talking about the procedure.
The procedure.
Okay.
So you're awake during it, but they say you will never remember anything.
Okay, the first time I had it done, like I said, the practice time, I didn't even think it really. I was just laying there. The
Yeah.
guy said, "Turn over." Looks
shot
good.
of whiskey.
He said, "Looks good to me." He said, "What are you doing later?"
Yeah.
The second time, I think I was more of the conscious sedation part.
Okay.
Because I was like out, I was like in and out, but I could hear them talking and
Yes.
stuff, and I could hear them going, "Oh my God, what is that?"
That's what I'm afraid
It
of.
was my keys. I had forgotten.
Oh, okay.
The third one I had, which I had like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
It was like turn over, face me,
Sleep.
and then I went blink, and she said, "Ah, it was pretty good. Went well." I said, "What went well?"
Whoa.
The whole thing. It's done, dude.
No
so I
way.
was out.
Okay, because
That time was awesome.
they've
that
said
was
that-
like boom.
there's levels. They say conscious sedation, and it's a tricky thing. They say is because there are levels, and
Sure,
people
absolutely.
react to it differently.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering what your experience was because I've been out. I've been knocked out.
Yeah.
Like with fists, and I've been knocked out in the
Yes.
hospital.
Yes.
But I've never been put under what they're calling conscious sedation. It's almost like hypnotism.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if it was called that when I had it. It's just like it's like you're awake. It's almost like the dentist's office in a way because you're awake.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff to you, but you don't feel it, but you know they're doing it. But this was even a little bit more because you're almost more out of it. It's almost like on a movie, The Dream, when there's wispy
Okay.
smoke going,
Yeah.
and you're dreaming,
Yeah.
and you kind of like, and you hear them talking, and you're trying to put it together, and
And you
they
just can't.
and you think, I'm thinking, are they talking about me? Like, who else are they going to be talking about? You're the one whose butt's hanging
Who
out there.
else is in this room
So
right now?
no, but like I said, the last time it was like
You were out.
It's like it's like okay, turn toward me, look toward me, okay, and that was going pretty well. No, there was none of that. It was like a blink, blink. I mean, come on.
Well, maybe I'll get
Lovely
lucky.
woman, the doctor that time.
Maybe I'll get lucky, and that'll happen to me. It just
That way wasn't bad. It was just kind of weird hearing them talk.
that's why
it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like you could
But
feel anything.
you don't remember the conversations, but you remember hearing them.
I
right?
remember them talking about like look over there, move over there, because they're guiding the camera, right?
Okay.
And mine it was a large area, so they had a cameraman and everything. They had a reporter.
Production crew.
They had a reporter and a cameraman went in there.
The boom mic.
They did like a stand up from in there. We're here at Blue. What is it? Blue Canyon. We're at Blue Canyon, and it's snowing. Definitely snowing. So I think it's like I say. You'll be like apprehensive when you go there because it's the hospital and everything, but
Yes.
that's all good.
All right.
And you'll get through the thing. it's not even having to hover around the toilet. That's I mean, that's bad, but it's just depending on what stuff they give you. And sometimes it's so in the old days it was so nasty. And now with all the millennials and stuff, now they let you cut it sometimes with like Crystal Light or something like that.
I've actually very specifically been told.
Do that.
Okay,
do that, because anything you can do to make it not taste like sludge coming
that's
out of a well that's been, that hasn't been open for 7 centuries.
This isn't working.
It still has like George Washington's remains in there.
I'm going to reschedule this thing.
But so if you can get past that, because that's not, because you got to drink it like a cup every hour or whatever it happens. I forget the whole timetable.
There's 4 or 5 different manufacturers, and they all have different ways.
But you should just have one. They should have one there that they said, this is what we want you to do.
They did, and then I went to go get it, and the place didn't have it, so they had to tell them, well, you now need to order them a different one.
That's not a great sign. Oh, that's not a great sign.
So I got the one that there's a comedian, and I can't remember off the top of my head who does it, but he actually does a colonoscopy bit where he does the whole thing about drinking this particular drink.
Yeah.
And that's the same one that I got. And I'm not looking forward to it.
I should do that bit because I'm
not looking forward to it.
It's the
That's
whole
the part I'm not looking forward to.
Drinking stuff, and then the hovering stuff, and then the thing, and then the aftermath is it's not cool or anything. It's like you're not gonna want to go do anything, but like you're doing it Wednesday afternoon, so you go home, you chill. Obviously Wednesday night, maybe there's a little residuals.
You don't think I could throw in a toilet Wednesday evening after the procedure,
buddy? It's too late by then. If you don't get it in by Tuesday, it doesn't. Let's see. You start at 6.
Yeah.
Now that the onset is what's different for people.
4:30. I better have that toilet done. It's silicone.
4:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you start drinking before that thing is done, you might want to
go outside.
Go to the neighbors.
Go outside.
How good of neighbors do you have?
Not good enough to go over there.
Not to hover?
No, we're going to that with the dogs.
All right. Well, I wish you obviously good luck with that. I'm glad you're getting that.
I wasn't trying to kill you, as you know.
Well, you were, but I'm glad you're getting
Robert
that.
Schimmel. Robert Schimmel was that. That was the bit.
That guy. Yeah. He's hysterical. Yeah, I'm glad you're getting that because I know that's all involved with other stuff, and we get that all figured out, and that's going to be tremendous. But while we were on the COVID thing, though, it's like kind of seriously, like I was watching the news this morning, and they talked about 500,000 people that the United States is going to get 500,000 people pretty soon that have died from COVID.
Yeah. And
they said on the news, that's about the size of a city of Sacramento. Now, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I know the city itself is, there's a bunch of surrounding areas and but let's just say that's true.
I just came down I-5 the other day, and I came in through Elk Grove, and I saw the population, and it said 498.
Okay, great, fantastic. So that's that's how many people that have died from COVID. Now,
that's crazy.
The way it hit my mind, though, it's like, okay, well, if there was one city of 500,000 they were all dying of COVID, the rest of the country would have pulled together and done anything they could for that city.
Oh, I thought you were saying Sacramento deserved it. Okay.
No.
I get what you're saying. You're being serious.
Yeah, I am.
Yes,
I'm saying if there's one city in America.
Oh, everybody would.
There would be no problem. We would give that city anything they needed. It would never be the second thought over whether they deserved it or had to, there would be nothing.
Well, look at Houston in just this last week.
Exactly. Exactly. My point being that, and this is the point that I've made before, the fact that if it was one city, we'd all come together. It's everybody, so we can't come together.
No.
And that hasn't really changed, I don't think. Now, the indicators and numbers seem to be trending in positive directions.
We are on the down. We're down trending. We're not on the downside of anything, but we are trending in the negative.
We have to keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. But the first thing I thought of is if it was a city the size of Sacramento and that was the only afflicted area, the rest of the country would do anything they could to help that city.
Oh yeah,
and it's but turn it around, it's affecting people all over the country, and we can't get we can't get our responses together. Well, and our public sentiment together.
Well, and one of the big reasons that I think that that's been the case is because the one message theory that works when you have one message that everybody. That hasn't been the case for a long period of time within this COVID, year. Yes. And we haven't had a one unified message of, we're all there's 4 or 5 different factions to it. And that's one of the reasons why we can't. Because in normal circumstances, we can. We've done it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've done it.
We've done it here. We've done it other places.
Katrina and Hurricane Sandy, all kinds of stuff.
Go
everywhere.
Go over to the Philippines when they had the tsunami, several years ago, and we went over there. Nobody had a problem. We went. We did it. And it's one of those things. There's no unified message, even though that I think we're trying now. I think people in power and stuff are trying to get that back, but that's the biggest reason why we can't do it.
Yeah, you need that single message. We see it. We always cite the Kaepernick case, and obviously it's different levels of how a message can be garbled and not delivered the right way, and the whole thing gets off the rails. And there's some truth to what you're saying as far as there's too many messages out there, and people are picking apart the message so much these days that they're not even looking behind that. But anyway, that just occurred to me. So let me turn the tables and get back to whimsy.
Whimsy.
I want to take a shot at a goat. Okay.
Okay.
All right, not a goat, but a goat.
All right.
And it's something that it's a kind of a it's a kind of a quarantine thing. The missus and I have been watching The Sopranos. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We've been watching it because when it came out, we didn't have HBO back in those days, and so we never watched it. So we kind of, you glimpsed it here and there, but we've been watching it from the beginning, and we're almost at the last episode now. So it's we enjoy it and everything. But my problem with it is everybody says The Sopranos is like the greatest show. Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, maybe one or two.
Up there, yeah.
But here's my problem with it. Now, are you familiar with The Sopranos?
Absolutely familiar. I've been to the Bada Bing.
I looked it up on Wikipedia, 86 episodes. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, here's my theory.
Yeah.
They are not the greatest show ever, and I'll tell you why.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, hit me.
If you would have taken out everything that had to do with those two fucking kids.
Yes.
You could have done it in 75 episodes, and you would be undeniably, indisputably the greatest TV show ever. James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano, probably the greatest performance of all time.
Brilliant.
Carm and everybody and the Dr. Melf, everybody. Fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, my God. But damn it, every time one of those kids came on screen from the first episode to number 86, I just went, oh, my God. I would stop the episode.
We don't need the kids.
We don't need the kids. Now, I had this conversation with the missus, which was a mistake because every time I try to have a real conversation with her, she thinks there's something beneath it. She never trusts me. She's
shit, Sherlock.
I said, what do you think of the kids? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I said, well, I hate it when the kids are. Oh, you always say stuff like that. Okay, so I can't get a discussion going with her because she just not.
She won't discuss it.
Probably, truthfully, she's always very suspicious, but especially AJ.
Does she know you're here right now?
I have no idea. Okay. She went off to get her hair done.
She doesn't care.
She may not be
she
back.
Does not
she
care.
may not be back for days.
She doesn't give two shits.
Yeah, the problem was she left and I left, and Lola's like, "What the hell?
What the hell's going on?
What the hell? You mean I got to stay with the kid?
Oh
what
Lord!
The hell?
I'm sorry. We'll get you out of here quick.
Oh my! I got to leave now.
We got to get you out of here.
So my premise here is that if they get rid of especially AJ.
Well, AJ is the
Meadow
worst.
was a little bit better, but she was still very, very whiny.
Okay, but why was she better? Because she was older.
Yes, she was older, and she could get involved in more adult plot subplots.
Correct.
Yes. Now, I didn't want them.
No, I'm not
with all due respect to her. I didn't want them.
I understand
but
that.
She could get in them.
You're
but
right.
the problem
is
just like, and so the missus would say.
You never watched Shameless, though, have you?
No, I haven't. And
you won't ever watch it now.
Okay, well.
Now you won't.
The problem with
there's too many kids in that right there.
Two problems with Shameless.
Yeah.
Number one, I know Emmy Rossum is a babe.
Yes.
Okay, and she left. Number two, William H. Macy was the worst interview we ever did.
Oh, you interviewed him?
Yes,
huh?
we did.
Okay.
It was an interview that we waited till after the show to do. He was involved with a movie. I don't even know. It might have been an animated movie about a baseball playing kid or something. And he was involved in this, so we had an interview set up with him, and what a dick. And maybe he was just having a bad day. That happens. Maybe his wife was training somebody into college. I don't know. But it's just he was just such a dick.
Well, the whole point of what I'm saying though is that because of your kid factor, you couldn't ever get through an episode of Shameless.
Right, but I would know going in that it's about the kids.
It really
that's
is.
the thing. Now, I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind kids. I'm very, very
I've not known you
very,
to like
very,
kids.
very, very less tolerant of them now than I ever was. I don't really need to see kids. I've had kids.
No,
I
you
raised
don't.
kids. Get out of here.
Yes.
And I don't need to watch
Off
kids.
my lawn.
Okay. But, so anyway, so she says, well, maybe it's because it was actually supposed to be a family study of this family in the mafia and how it affected the entire family, which I tipped the cap and said, you're exactly right.
Smart woman.
I mean, I got to like it.
Yeah, no shit.
So
No shit.
maybe they thought that the family drama cut against the mafia drama and kind of made it easy, more palatable or something because they couldn't be just hacking people up all the time.
For sure.
But I'm saying anytime you went to AJ, just go to the Bada Bing. Just let me look at people.
I've been there. It's a fun
I'm
place.
just saying
Fun
that is what keeps it, in my estimation, being the greatest show, is those kids, especially AJ. No offense to the kid. He was just doing what he was supposed to do.
No, totally offense to the kid.
But, man, I want to punch.
Total offense to him. So if we're saying a greatest show of all time is an A+,
Yes.
okay, what do you give this show if you won't put it
Well,
in,
it's not an A+.
No, I know. We're saying the greatest shows of all time are A+.
Okay, I would
What's
say
your
that.
grade?
I would say that. Okay,
I mean, because
it's between an A and an A. I mean, it's still a great show. So
A,
it's
A
an
minus?
A. It's an A.
Okay.
So it's even with
AJ.
It didn't fall out of the top 3 or
Okay,
5,
okay.
even with AJ.
Okay.
So that just shows how great it would have been.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, the kid's a fucking anchor, So I'm just saying,
Couldn't stand him.
I did not like him. Why do I need to see a sniveling kid on TV? I had sniveling kids.
It
I know
sounds
what
like-
they do.
Do you feel the same way about some of the members of the Stones Radio Network? Are you having those same feelings right now?
No, not
No?
not in the same way. No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure because I can
No,
see.
we'll talk about that later.
I can see you feeling that way about the toy, though.
Oh, I felt like that about him for a long time, but I
Okay.
can't call him a kid.
Okay. Well, no, you can.
He's just
Totally
he's
okay. We all know it's totally okay.
He's just like one of those. He's like a wide receiver. He's like a Terrell Owens or somebody. You just never know what you're going to get.
Oh my God! I think you actually just broke him.
He's like OBJ or those guys. You know,
just straight
He's
said
like-
he's like a Terrell.
he's like a
Owens.
tremendous talent, but you just never know if he's going to show up. And one day he's just going to do sit-ups in his garage. He's not even going to. It's like, I can't make it today. I got something going on.
That's my quarterback, man.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't know the guy's name.
Yeah, no, he couldn't figure it out.
So
Anyway.
that's
Okay.
That's in the GOAT conversation. Obviously, they still deserve to be there with other drama. I guess Breaking Bad, although I'm a Better Call Saul guy and not a Breaking Bad guy.
Okay.
But still, I mean, it's a great show, obviously. Mad Men and stuff
So
like
they
that.
don't get GOAT status for you, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know what the GOAT is as far as the drama because, like I say, I can't make it The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Now, if that was the GOAT, even with AJ, I mean, that shows how great it is.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
So I mean,
I don't know that it is.
you are the one putting the information out there. So
I
then
am-
you have to
Putting the information out
you
there.
have to wrap it up and say, I have an issue. It is not the greatest show of all time.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So what is
Well,
the greatest show of all time?
It depends. If you're gonna, there's comedies that are gonna get an A+ for me.
Okay, but let's keep it in this
Dramas.
drama
I
category.
I don't know because I can't say Breaking Bad because I didn't watch it that much,
Okay.
and I can't say Mad Men because I still haven't watched Mad Men. The problem with Mad Men, I tried to watch it. This will not surprise you at all. By the 3rd episode, I'm like, I think I got lung cancer from fucking watching it.
No shit.
My God, can somebody put out a cigarette? My God.
Constantly lighting them. I loved it.
Old people waking up to go pee on the way to the bathroom. They're lighting up. It's ridiculous.
How you doing?
So I don't know. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you.
Well,
I mean,
we're gonna have to circle
The
back at some
Sopran-
point in time, and you're gonna have to come up with something because
I'm
you
going to-
can't come out on the platform and say, "Look, it's not the greatest of all time," but you have nothing to
what
replace it
you
with.
might have shown me is it still may be the greatest of all time, even with AJ.
Because there isn't really an argument.
Well, yeah, because if you're talking about dramas,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, we haven't encompassed all of them right now because I wasn't really making that list
I know
in
you
my
weren't,
mind.
but-
But I'm glad you brought that up because maybe there's no A+ in drama. Maybe A is the best grade,
Oh shit!
and maybe Mad Men's an A- or something. I can't say. Like I said, I
I'm
couldn't
fine with giving
couldn't
him
get
an
past the
A-.
4th cigarette. So
Give it a minute.
I'm sure the last season they all got those things in
That's
their
right.
neck.
And we're here talking to you guys right now. Sorry.
That's Don Draper.
That's good stuff.
I know, Don. That is good stuff.
That's good stuff.
Okay, so anyway, The hell with AJ is all
The
I got
hell
to
with
say.
AJ.
Yeah.
AJ
Meadow, okay, you tried.
He went to prison in real life for armed robbery.
No, that's not good. I don't want to know that.
That's AJ.
Really?
The guy that you're like, he sucks. He's a
Well,
piece of shit.
With
Well,
that,
guess
with,
what?
With that upbringing, how's he not gonna? Like, he saw murders every day when he went to work.
Every friggin'
Are you
day.
kidding me?
Yep, that's AJ. Buddy.
All right, another show business note, if I may.
Yeah.
And I know, as I say every time, I'm one of the only 3 or 4 people that watches Saturday Night Live still. So usually we watch the show, we don't watch the musical guest. But this week,
Which is weird because it used to be the reverse.
yeah,
There was a period of time where it was the reverse, where you would watch just for the music.
No, you're right. One of the things I have in my queue at home on the DVR or whatever you call it, I have a couple of movies that I like, Casablanca and The Sting and A Hard Day's Night. I have those movies, and I have an episode of Saturday Night Live from 1976, I think. Paul Simon was the host, and George Harrison was the guest. And George Harrison came out and sang "Here Comes the Sun" with Paul Simon. And I ran across that on one of those because they used to run at 10 o'clock on Saturday. Before Saturday Night Live, they would run old episodes, and I saw that one. This is a couple years ago now, and I go, I got to have that.
Hell yeah!
So I recorded it, and I just keep it just so I can watch that. Yep. It's so great, so great.
How often do you flip it on?
I just watched it the other day. I don't usually, maybe once every couple months or something.
That's good though. That's good. Keeping it fresh.
Usually, I can't skip down through the queue with all the below decks that the life has. I'm like, okay, there's below deck. There's below deck Mediterranean. There's below deck Indian Ocean.
Oh
Below
Lord.
deck Atlantic. There's below deck a Caspian Sea.
And
I thought that was too much.
And that's all right next to Married in 60 Seconds.
Married
Bridezillas.
Well, that's my wedding night. Married in 60 Seconds. Bridezillas. Married at First Sight.
Married First Sight. That's what it is.
And Love After Lockup.
Oh God, dude, I couldn't even get through those. I'd actually just walk away.
But
drop the remote, walk away.
The great thing about it is
Can't do
that
this.
the fact that she watches those means whenever she comes up and I'm watching wrestling, she can't yell at me.
There you go.
Huh?
I like
Can't say
it.
anything.
I like it.
I don't pretend that that's any better than what she's watching. It's just the titles. It's just the titles that she has.
I had no idea you watched wrestling.
I do sometimes. I do. I like when I grew up with wrestling.
I did too, but
Yeah.
I had to get away from it.
I grew up with wrestling and then kind of like revisited it, and sometimes you'd go back and it was like, that one Rock era was really entertaining, but they also they go through some cycles, and I know this is like old man speak, but they go through cycles where they don't treat women very well, and I don't mind that in a sense because it's theatrical. But when they start hitting them, then I go, well, I wanted to watch wrestling with my kids and show them the way I grew up when we were watching wrestling.
Yes,
even though it's much different, obviously, than it used to be. It used to be like they wrestled for the whole hour.
They wrestled for an hour.
Now, if they get a wrestling match in, they go, "We're sorry. We wanted to talk, but we were
apologize,
wrestling.
but
we apologize for wrestling during the wrestling show."
Enough.
But anyway, but then I got back to it, and the thing of the
That's funny. I didn't know
thing that kind of makes me sad about it. Wrestling is a lot like stand up in a way, where if you have to do it before people and get reaction to tell what's working.
Yeah.
And now wrestling is in the same way. They need the fans in the arenas, so they go, "Oh, Stones McCoy, that guy's a mother." And then boo, but you're getting over. See?
Are there fans at these events still?
No, they're virtual.
Oh, okay.
They're
All right.
virtual.
All right.
And I give a lot of credit to the people that are doing it because you really you're selling it to nobody.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But you really need those fans because there's a lot of people when you read stories about like John Cena and he talks about how he was on the scene and then he was really not doing very well and then all of a sudden he came up with this other character and everybody started cheering. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's how you tell what's working and that's how
Absolutely.
the bosses tell what's working so they can write the scripts out. You know, it's not like I think it's real or anything.
I've always said it's one of the greatest adult soap operas ever.
Absolutely.
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
But the way they figure out who the actors in the soap opera are going to be is by getting the audience reaction when they show up or when, all of a sudden, if this guy turns bad guy and nobody buys it, then, okay, Stones can't be a bad guy. We'll make Toy the bad guy because nobody likes Toy. And so
I remember that happening to the Piper.
Yeah.
Piper was a good guy for the long time, and then the Piper went bad.
The Piper, he was one of those guys who were invaluable, and I think maybe Steve Austin was the same way, although I didn't watch it that much.
Yeah,
is a guy who could go both sides of the fence and still have the same fans.
And everybody loved him.
And they would just the reaction would change to the other person. And that's genius. That's why Piper was genius.
Piper was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
That's when I really loved wrestling. I was kind of thrown back there. I had no idea that you still enjoyed it.
I do. When I was a kid, when watching it was when they first had wrestling was on. I think Friday nights out of Oakland because I grew up in Vallejo.
Yeah,
out of Oakland, it was like, and they'd have like 3 or 4 matches, and we'd watch them. And they had Miss Wrestling.
Yeah,
and I think Miss Wrestling may have been the first person to go, oh, okay, because she's like sashaying, and they had this board like a marquee, and it had like Stones McCoy against the Doy, and then she'd get, and then you guys would wrestle, which was foreign to anybody, and then she'd take the star and go, toy, and she put it right next to it, and you watch her walk and go, I know I'm like 12, but man,
that is
or 6 or whatever
sweet.
it is. Anyway, and I remember Ray Stevens because he'd always beg. The people would always beg. The bad guys would always beg, and the best beggars were the best guys, right? Because they can make you hate them more.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
You also, why are you begging, man? You were just kicking his ass. Now he's kicking your ass, and you're begging, you
pussy.
baby. So exactly. So yeah, that's when I started watching it.
That is awesome.
And then like I say, I revisit it every once in a while. And now it's like, what else is there?
Well, that's
so
just
I watch
it.
and I just feel sad for him because
I haven't turned it on in years, and maybe I should because I
don't know.
No, I grew up with it. George the Animal Still, Randy Macho Man Savage,
Oh, yeah.
Coco Beware. These guys that weren't even like Coco Beware wasn't even a good wrestler.
No.
But because he came out flashy with the parrot,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he could jump off the top rope, everybody loved him.
See, now that's the problem they're having now is if you're not a good wrestler, everybody knows it because that's all you have.
Yeah, that's all you have.
Because
everybody could jump off the top rope.
if you go
everybody
back,
could do all that.
When I saw the first time I ever saw The Rock, I had 2 things. First of all, this guy's the best guy with the mic I've ever seen, and secondly, I don't really want to watch him wrestle. He's kind of boring.
Yeah.
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 And that was, which is kind of weird. And unfortunately, I think that has progressed to this day that's more important to be a personality.
A vocal.
Obviously, that's important.
Yeah.
But some of those guys, they don't,
Stone Cold was the last kind of that.
Stone Cold's
that.
and now when you have no crowd diversion, you watch the wrestlers and you go, oh, you needed to sell that one a little bit better right there.
Totally.
And you try to. What I do is I try to figure out the storylines because I was like, well, if I was writing this, what would I do if I would have written the storylines? What would I do with that guy?
Oh, hell
but you
yeah.
can't tell because you don't have the fans. So you might be making a guy like I'm picking this guy to, I'm going to put him on the rise to the championship.
Yep.
Well, you can't tell that by the 3rd time he's playing, and nobody cares about him.
No shit.
So this guy's not getting over at all, and so
You got to rewrite the whole damn thing.
anyway. So my whole thing was
wrestling.
my
on
whole
POS
thing
show.
with
That's
Saturday
awesome.
Night Live was, a lot of times the musical guest I don't know them. I might have heard of them because I hear about everybody. But, like last week was Bad Bunny. I love Bad Bunny because he's with Snoop on Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
So, but this week, they have gone to the
playa.
part where they're having just a guest, and he is also the musical guest. The host is also the guest, and it's Nick Jonas.
Oh.
And I just think, and I no disrespect to Nick, as a good buddy. I just think maybe that's not good enough,
It's
right?
not.
You know what I mean? Now, I know Nick Jonas is on The Voice, which is on NBC, which is Saturday Night Live, and that's probably has something to do with it. That's fine. But I just think that, if you're going to have a guest, I think Madonna did that once, and I think other people have done it, but if you're going to do it, it's got to be somebody
It's got to be
somebody that's somebody.
A-lister
Thank
if you're
you.
going to do that. And it's almost like what happened at the Super Bowl halftime this year. Okay, when the weekend went solo.
Yeah, he did go solo.
Without having an act. You really need to split that up. I don't think you're bringing in a new audience by letting Jonas do both.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't know what the point is of doing.
Unless the entire Disney crew is going to follow him and start watching Saturday Night Live, because that's the other option.
Or if
He
his
has
brother
this huge-
shows up and brings what's her name, Sansa from
there
Game
you
of
go.
Thrones,
There
maybe,
you go.
and then he's married to the beauty queen that's on Quantico. So maybe there's something going on there. But people, they don't even do that anymore because
Glad
nobody
you
can.
know all these
Nobody
things.
can travel.
No, that's true.
I'm doing a podcast.
They're
Come
all-
on, I know
they're-
everything. Come
you
on,
know everything.
Bring something up. I don't care.
I don't know nothing.
Okay,
All right.
last week I call us back to last Monday.
All right.
I don't know what it is about me that makes me the butt of these things. But since I talked to you last week, every show that I listen to, every show that I watch is sponsored by Detroit Style Pizza. The very thing that I doubted the existence of 168 hours ago is now every freaking where. Every show is brought to you by Detroit Style Pizza.
You are correct.
They're showing it to me. They're doing the sauce thing. They're going, I told you it was real. And they're just doing this and everything. I'm listening to shows. I'm watching shows on TV. That's all there is. I mean, it's taken over the world. And it wasn't. Nobody was talking about Detroit Style Pizza 2 weeks ago. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not wrong. They
just invented this like last week to piss me off, and now it's everywhere. It is, as we call, ubiquitous.
It is ubiquitous. I was curious as to what the whole thing is, and I looked into Little Caesars.
Okay.
Little Caesars started in Michigan.
Oh, that's right, because that's the guy from the Tigers.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so my daughter the other night said, I want pizza. And I said, I'm
You
just
did not
curious.
do it.
I am
You
just
did
curious.
not.
You like Little Caesars, right? Yes, I do. Go get 2 Little Caesars pizzas. I don't give a shit what they are. Bring them home. Okay?
Okay.
She brings them home. And did you know that on the Little Caesars box, it says Detroit style pizza? And this is not new.
But
this is
Little
not a new
Caesars-
box.
but
This
they
is
didn't-
not a new box either.
Are you telling me Little Caesars invented Detroit style pizza because the guy owned the Tigers?
Little
Owned it?
Caesars is the only pizza chain that I can find that has an actual claim to fame of Detroit style pizza.
Well, because they started in Detroit. Now, what kind of pizza did your daughter get?
She got the regular cheese and pepperoni. We didn't go.
You didn't go Detroit style?
Hell no, because it's already Detroit
I've
style
gotta
from Little
try it.
Caesars.
Yeah, okay, I see
You
that.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go that route because Little Caesars
it's-
pizza is Detroit style.
Right, but Detroit style pizza is Pizza Hut.
They're making a version of Detroit style pizza.
My God.
Okay, that's the thing.
Why is this haunting me the way
you
it
have
is?
everybody's got their own spin to put on this.
But
okay?
I never heard of it until 2 weeks ago.
well, but that because first of
Little
all,
Caesars.
you're not well traveled. We know this.
There's a Little
okay?
Caesars in Lincoln. I took my kid there a lot when he was in high school or before high school because that's all they would do is
Look
get
at the box.
$5 pizzas. I never saw the box that said Detroit style pizza. No, it's Little Caesars.
look at
It's
the
cheap.
box.
Here, a kid can afford it.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, man. I'm
All right.
sorry. I feel bad for you.
All right.
I feel bad for you. You've had a really rough day.
I've had a rough day, and I had a rough week, whatever you want to call it. Okay,
It hasn't
so
ended.
the problem with you being the matriarch of the Stones Radio Networks, the problem with that is that you built yourself a network here with shows that people want to listen to.
Yes.
Listenable shows, I call them,
Listenable.
which is probably good for radio. And so I sampled both of your other shows that are currently on the air right now, the Unscripted podcast
Unscripted.
and the Stones and Toy Show.
Okay. This has got to be great.
Stones and Toy I caught yesterday. I tried to listen to the best of, and there was nothing coming out of my phone.
Yeah,
and
I had
then
issues
I
with
found out there were issues later, but anyway, when the issues were resolved, one of the first things I heard somebody say was something about our Knights and Dames issue of the Generation Gap, and how there was criticism from, I believe, Mr. Toy about the thing. He didn't mention on your show that I heard any concrete criticism,
I don't
but he
think
did
so.
mention something about how I'd tell those guys a thing or two. Okay, so later on, then last night, I'm listening to the Unscripted Boys because I very much like both of your shows, as
I
I've told you
appreciate that.
before, because I love your stream of consciousness. I love the fact that both of you just go, we're going to do anything, and it doesn't really matter.
I hope you guys like it.
And he has your back, and those guys have each other's back, and
Yeah.
I just don't work as well that way. I want to be stream of consciousness guy.
We've been pretty good
But
tonight.
you guys, both of the guys do great jobs, and you guys do what you've been doing, and they're kind of still finding their way. Anyway, so they called Zach into question about the Knights, and Dylan and Miles both had one guy in mind. They wanted to put in the Knight. Now, if you don't know,
Yeah, please explain. 'cause-
obviously knighting people is a British thing.
Yes.
But Zach was thinking about it the other day, and he said, if American had knights, if we knighted people, who would be the people that we would knight?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, I mean, probably you could name 50 people, but let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's do it like the Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Their first year, they had 5 people go in.
Okay.
So let's put 5 people in at a time. We'll do men, sirs, and women, dames.
Dames.
We'll do both of them. So, okay, that's what we did. So our men were Bill Russell and Michael Phelps, Buzz Aldrin.
This is the best part right here.
I always forget what we're doing.
This is the
Jack
best.
Nicklaus.
Okay, and
Denzel Washington. Very good. I'm very pleased with myself right
my
now.
favorite part of the whole damn thing.
Okay, so those are the 5 we got, okay?
Yeah.
Now, Dylan and Miles were giving Zach shit because they said, what about Tom Cruise?
Oh, shit.
And,
What about that short guy?
okay, that's a fine – I mean, we had other people. There were other people that we talked about, Bob Dylan and Jack Nicholson and Brian Wilson and all kinds of great people. And we almost set up next year's class already.
Yeah, I heard that.
So Tom Cruise is a fine suggestion. I wouldn't have put him on the list. I mean, he would be behind a couple other actors if you're going strictly in that vein.
I wouldn't put him on any
But
list
anyway, so Zach immediately struck back against Tom Cruise, and he was calling him, his really sophisticated kind of comedy where he calls people small and says they're idiots because they rush at the wrong things and they're small. So
all
I thought that
the
was
things
pretty good.
I just said,
I thought it was pretty good.
Zach and I are on the same page.
So the problem was that Zach had to admit that he had not seen Top Gun, which I was listening laughing because I have not seen Top Gun either.
What?
But anyway,
No way.
He was getting in an argument, which is something that only sons or daughters can do,
Yeah.
is get in an argument about something that you know nothing about and just double down. Keep doubling down. Like a bad gambler. I'm going to hit number 7 before the night is over.
I just did.
And, so he's doubling down and going, he's terrible, he's the worst, and they're throwing movies at him. And the problem is Zach does like A Few Good Men.
Okay,
And
that's a good
he
movie.
did champion that movie, and then he's arguing against the guy in the movie that he's saying is so great and telling Miles and Dylan they have to go see it. And they're like, well, you're telling us to go see a great movie with the guy in it that we say is great, and you say he's not great. So it was great fun to watch. I mean, the circuitous argument that all of them were going. And if you think about it, and it makes it, and you look up Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has been in a billion movies,
Yes.
and a lot of them are very good. And he's a good actor. He's a definite movie star.
He's a
good actor, but he's not a great actor. I mean, and it doesn't matter. For the sake of what we were doing, all Zach had to go is like, yeah, he's a pretty good actor, but we're not going to knight him. I mean, he's got a lot of problems personally.
I got an easier way to finish that argument, dude. You just say, we're not going to knight the guy because of his Scientology background.
That's what
Boom.
That's what they were talking
Done.
about. I didn't want that because I don't want to rule out. Maybe there's a good Scientologist coming down the pike that I don't want to say can't be
Leah
knighted.
Remini?
She's not it anymore, though.
Okay, but she was.
She was, I know. But anyway, so I was laughing at that. So they wanted to go Tom Cruise. Now, when we were doing it, I got a text from a friend of yours who threw the name Jason Witten at me. And I had to think about it because he's a fine football player. But no, Mr. Toy, we are not going to put Jason Witten. We're not going to knight Jason Witten either for his football or his broadcasting.
If I went out on the streets just randomly, not in Texas, okay, and randomly polled people, I guarantee you less than 50% of people would know who Jason Witten is.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay.
If you had a good cross-section.
This has nothing to do with how fabulous of a tight end the guy is. But, dude, you're high.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably was.
He may have been.
But, I mean, and it's related to something we'll discuss a little bit later as far as his team is concerned. But I mean, at least the kids came with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You guys came with Jason Witten.
Well, see, first of all, you guys, I came with my own guy, and I had picked up the show late. Okay, so I didn't know the prerequisite of being alive.
Understood, yes.
Because I came at you with Jerry Garcia.
Yes, you did.
And that was because I didn't know the prerequisite of being alive. That would have been my nomination. And he still is alive, kind of.
Well, if I was considering Jerry Garcia, I would have him. He would be like below like Brian Wilson or Bruce Springsteen probably, but he would probably be maybe in that next group.
Yeah, see, yeah, okay. All right, that's cool. We can fight over the Bruce Springsteen. I think he sits above Bruce Springsteen. Brian Wilson is another cat all entirely.
I had him he and Bob Dylan, I really thought I was going to, when I first started doing the list, I really thought I was going to put those guys in. But when we broke it down, it's kind of like, okay, they kind of needed to wait. And between Jack Nicklaus and Bob Dylan, it was a tough call.
Oh yeah,
it was really a tough call.
No, you guys couldn't. And you
We
couldn't
were
remember his name?
agonizing. Then we said we put him in, and then he said, "What about Jack Nicholson?" And I said, "Quit making jokes," and then we had problems. So anyway, don't take shots. Okay, if you guys want to start a discourse with us, that's fine. But again, you didn't even know the rules.
I didn't know the rules.
And the unscripted guys, it was made for a very, very humorous discussion.
I'm glad
as
they
far
took
as
that up.
They're pushing Zach against the wall all the time. They're throwing okay. Being 22 and 23, they don't know half of the stuff that Tom Cruise. I mean, they don't know half the movies.
I can't believe that you haven't seen Top Gun.
I'm talking about Color of Money, and I'm talking about all these other Rain. They
Cocktail.
didn't mention Rain Man. Well, that's good that they didn't mention Cocktail. But I mean, so it was just kind of funny. And I don't know. Top Gun came out. I was like already in my 30s, and I had no point. And the only thing I know about Top Gun is Tom Cruise throwing the dog tags on the beach.
Okay.
And it's not going to give him an MLB contract. Is all I know.
Oh no! Hell
yeah.
no!
In fact,
no.
In fact, I saw it in A Few Good Men. It was funny. They stopped talking. I turned on the TV. There's A Few Good Men. And there's a scene where he's taking like batting practice, playing softball or something. And I'm like, dude.
Worst athlete.
You may ever go talk to Stones McCoy. He can teach you how to hit a little bit.
Worst athlete.
I'm not even going to say go see Ryan Stevens because you're not ready for Ryan.
No, he's not ready for Ryan.
I'm
not ready for
Stones
Ryan.
McCoy. Maybe his daughter will help you out.
Yes,
You know
there
what
you
I'm saying?
go. There you go.
All right, finally, before we get to the show, and okay.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, since you guys are going to rip on our show all the time.
Yeah.
I think we've decided that our March Madness tournament, because we had two. I don't know if you know, we had two different
ideas
categories.
that you were
ideas,
floating, yeah.
movie scenes,
Yes.
or guitar riffs.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go with guitar riffs.
Ooh.
And so you're going to be involved in that because you're going to have to wait to get the samples and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So people can vote. And it was funny because I was talking about it, and the wife kind of lent an ear in there, and she's talking about what's the difference between, is it going to be solos or guitar riffs? And I'm like, actually, it's going to be, a solo is in the middle of a song.
Yeah.
Guitar riff is basically the beginning.
The beginning of the song.
So we're going to go so we're not going to have the solo from like Hotel California,
correct,
or something like that,
it's
from
named that tune,
Bohemian Rhapsody, something
Yes.
like that. So that's what we're gonna do guitar riffs, I think.
Okay.
So like Smoke on the Water and Satisfaction, all kinds of great stuff. And that another thing I heard Bohemian Rhapsody today, and I got it halfway through, and I always talk about movies that you see halfway through and you have to sit down and watch.
Yeah.
Like for me, like The Fugitives, like that.
Oh, okay.
And there's others, but
Heat.
songs is different. Songs is different. Sometimes you hear a song even though you like it, go, it's But Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, whenever you hear it, as long as it's not the end, I kind of hang with it.
See, you're right. There are a few songs. Bohemian Rhapsody probably would fall into one of my categories. But see, you got to remember, I listen to the majority of my music is the Dead. So you can drop a song and pick up a song at any point in time.
Because it never
they
ends.
all go together.
It's like a dog chasing its tail.
Correct.
It
They all go together. It all works
centipede.
out. Yeah, I'm super happy.
I like that. It all goes together. It all works out. It's all good.
Everybody's happy at the end.
Okay. Then, last thing before we start the show.
Wait, it's almost 7 o'clock.
Another thing I saw on Twitter today is another guy died because of a gender reveal party. He was building some device in order to launch the gender reveal thing.
I thought we quit this.
And he died.
I thought we quit this shit.
Okay. Again, if you're trying, the only reason to do that is to impress anybody because nobody cares.
No.
What you do, you call your parents, you call your aunts and uncles, whatever. Say, hey, it's a girl.
It's a boy.
Everybody gets excited anyway.
That's right.
If you want presents, they'll give them to you. You'll have a baby shower.
Hell yeah.
This is something in society we need to cut out now, and we can do it.
Dude, first
Hello?
of all,
Yes? What is it? Okay, so you're having a baby? What is it going to be? A boy. Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Click.
Cool. We're going to get you some onesies.
It's a boy, dear.
Blue.
No problem. Yeah, it's a boy. Yeah, blue, not pink, okay? Although maybe it'll change to pink later. We have to let the kid make his own mind.
This is getting out of friggin' control. Now, I think I'm going to blame a social media platform. I'm just going to come right out and say it.
I love it.
Facebook.
I love it.
Hey, Facebook.
I love it.
You need to start putting that, what was that disclaimer that we were talking about the other night?
The insensitive cultural depiction.
That's the one, the IC disclaimer. There's got to be like a some kind of disclaimer up saying, look, we are not going to allow you to post these videos anymore.
Yeah, we're going to shut them down.
So
we can shut down Trump. We can shut down you.
So if we can shut down those videos, then guess what?
Yeah.
They're not going to make them anymore.
Yeah.
And that's how you get away from that.
This is something that we have to make it our platform. We have to say, because terrible things have happened, and yet people still do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know anymore who you're trying to impress.
We got to come up with a hashtag for this.
Hashtag no more babies. No, I don't think that's a good one. I don't think that's a good one.
No.
I don't think that's a good one.
No.
Hashtag.
But it might get us some follows.
Hashtag just tell me.
Just tell me.
Just tell me.
Hashtag phone call.
Hashtag leave a message.
Leave a message. Pink or blue. Hashtag pink or blue.
Finally, before we take a break,
all right.
I'm surprised that Toy didn't call as far as the dames and the sirs and just say,
bro, he's been texting the whole time.
Why don't you take Bruce and Caitlyn Jenner and make them both or something, and you could fill both quotas. I thought he would have already called with that. And with that, I think we need to take a break.
Yeah, let's do that.
We've already almost started the show, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about Fernando Tatis. We're going to talk about baseball goats. I'm looking forward to the Potters roll call. Just do a lot of fun stuff after this. Thanks for checking in on the POS show. I'm Phantom. That's Stones McCoy. We're back in a minute.
listening to the POS Show, Phantom on Sports, on the home of the Lincoln Potters, Stones Radio Network.
And we're back for the second half of Phantom on Sports. That was the voice of Chris Toy, the sort of unofficial voice of Stones Radio Network.
Trying to make him.
Trying to usher in the, he's got a real good voice for doing reads and stuff.
He does.
I mean, that's all I'm going to say.
Maybe we can find him a job somewhere.
Well, yeah. What time does he start?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nobody knows, bro.
He would have been perfect to be like a back in the day, a cable installer, because he's going to be at your house sometime between 9 and 1. You just have no idea when.
You just have no idea when.
Fernando Tatis.
Oh, God.
13 years, $340 million. Is that more, less, or just as impressive as the A's spending $10 million for one person? Which I believe they did.
That is just slightly more impressive.
So, do you think that Brad Pitt, when he read that, goes, "What the hell are they doing? That's not the team I built.
That's not what I was
That's
trying to
way
do.
too much money."
It's ridiculous money. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous money. But let's not kid ourselves. The A's are not a market that can spend money.
Right.
Okay. They never will be in Oakland under the guides and stuff that they're stuck with currently.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, San Diego's going all out because they're playing their rival in the division and the only other team that they have to worry about in baseball right now other than when they get to the big dance.
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about that on the day I just read before I came over that Pujols is hanging him up after this year, and he's the big contract guy. But Tatis, the difference obviously is Tatis is 23.
Yeah.
In 13 years, I think 13. He'll be 36.
Well, it's a 14-year deal.
14 years. I'm sorry.
14
So he'll
year
be 37. But you figure,
thank you, Max.
if everything goes health-wise you're going to get primo Tatis for 9 or 10 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then you'll get a little bit of drop-off, and then when he's 35, who knows? But you're not paying for that anyway.
Well, we don't know. I mean, look at other teams that have done it.
Right, but they signed
Pujols
guys
deals.
later. But those guys were later. This guy, they didn't wait until he was 26.
You're right.
They did it when he's 23.
This is a huge deal in the respect that it's a young guy and it's going to last for a long period of time.
Right.
As opposed to going and getting a 5 or 7 year deal, playing that out, and then getting another 5 or 7 year deal.
Which he obviously could have done.
And he absolutely probably being healthy. And that's the thing, is that's why I think the 14-year, he signs that without question.
Well,
because that will ensure a lot with his health. Okay?
Well,
because if he's playing on a 7-year contract and then he's going for that second one and he has a down 6th year, he's not going to get as much money. This is going to guarantee that for him.
Yeah, and you made a perfect point earlier on. They basically have one rival, and they happen to be a couple 100 miles up to the north.
Yeah.
And that's the people they have to beat.
Well, and
it's like in the old days of basketball when you said, okay, this guy's in my division.
Yep.
I got to beat him first, so how do I beat this team? How do I stop Kareem or whatever happens to be?
This is Boston and New York.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the West Coast version of Boston and New York.
And they have signed, I think, the face of baseball for the next decade. And they got him locked in.
They've signed a face of baseball. I'm not going to say the face.
Okay,
I'm not going to go out there yet.
Fair point.
Mike Trout, in my opinion, and I'm sure our buddy Max is listening, I'm sure he would agree that the face of baseball still is Mike Trout.
I would call him out, and I will call you out. I don't think it is Mike Trout because I don't think people know his face. That's the problem. Mike Trout is definitely the best. No problem there. I have no problem making Mike Trout and projecting him into the all-time greats.
Yeah.
But he's not the face of baseball if nobody knows his face.
Well, that's
partially him. I mean, he doesn't really care about that.
No,
obviously.
a lot. I would say more of that falls on baseball than it does on him. And I think they really started working that change last year with Mike Trout. And
you think they have?
Correct.
Okay.
I really think that they started marketing him more. And Max is actually going to go and say, I'd say there's no face. Like right now, there isn't a face of baseball. I would still put Mike Trout as the face of baseball.
Baseball is like when Arya goes to that place to learn how to be an assassin, and she could take anybody's face that she wants to, and that's what baseball does. Every time they make a new face, and then they go and they use that, and they go back and get another face.
I don't like baseball being faceless, man. I don't.
But Max is correct.
I don't.
And first of all, let me give you a little tip about this. Whatever Max texts you, don't say he texted you.
I have to
just use it as yourself.
No, I have to give him credit.
He would respect that.
I know, but
he
I give
would
him
respect
credit.
that.
He's such a good guy.
He is a tremendous guy, and maybe he's the guy that can tell me why in all the talks with Tom Brady and everybody, why is baseball GOAT not a thing?
Max, you know what, Max? We're gonna have to have you on the show. Listen.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm not asking Max.
Well, you prefaced the whole thing by maybe Max could help answer that question.
Right. But I'm
my ears are still working over here.
Okay, well,
got cans
let's
on.
make. Well, I know. Let's make the mouth work and give me an answer.
Okay, what? There is no go. There's a lot of reasons. Because you would have an offensive position. You would have defensive positions.
Right.
You would have pitching positions.
I agree, but football has quarterbacks and other guys in defense.
I don't hear in football any other greatest of all times other than quarterbacks,
Right.
running backs, and an occasional defensive player.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I totally agree with you, and I agree with you that in baseball's case, it would be awfully hard to have a GOAT who's a pitcher because they only play every once in a while.
And that's
why it's got to be a position player.
Yeah.
But pitchers are pretty glamorous, and maybe that's part of it. And also, in my opinion, it's a position player, and whoever it is, it's somebody that hasn't played in 50 years.
Well, of course.
And that's also, I think, in baseball, and maybe that's not why it's talked about much because everybody kind of goes, well, it's Willie Mays.
Well,
then when Hank Aaron passes, you look at Hank Aaron's achievements, you go, well, maybe it was Hank Aaron, and it's no Willie Mays. But nobody is taking that over, are they?
No, they're not.
Am I wrong with that?
No, they're not, and that's one of the reasons why. No, because I would say the playing field nowadays in baseball is a much more level playing field. I would say that the majority of your top tier pitchers are only separated by mere, fractions
So
of
you don't have
points.
like standouts.
You don't have the one necessarily that's just above and beyond, and because it comes in cycles, let me back. If Jason Verlander had 5 straight years,
Right.
okay, of his Cy Young MVP season, and he had that for 5 straight years, then I think we would be talking about pitcher GOAT, and we would talk about Justin Verlander. But because it happened every other year or every third year, you can't equate that. And then on top of all of that, we had the home run leader, right? And the only one that was working on anywhere close was Barry Bonds.
Right.
That's ended. We don't have anybody else currently that's pushing, 700.
Right, but Barry Bonds gets a lot of GOAT votes.
No, I
Don't you
understand.
think?
He does get a lot of GOAT votes, but that's because of what's going on. So what I'm saying is all the guys that we have right now, they're chasing 500.
Yeah.
They're chasing 600.
Right. And pitchers, to your point, are not chasing 300 wins because nobody's getting 300 wins anymore.
It's just
but you're not pitching that
It's
much.
just a different standard that's out there now in baseball. And so, you're going to default to the greatest of all time. So when we talk, when I know baseball guys, when we debate greatest of all times, we're not even talking about guys in the last 25
crazy.
years.
And when you look at football,
No,
I know, except unless you include Barry Bonds.
unless you include Barry
Right.
Bonds.
In football, I think it has emerged to be Tom Brady because he has that magic 7 number.
Yes.
Okay? And if it wasn't Tom Brady, and you're right, it would probably be quarterback discussions, but people like me say, well, I mean, you can't say the greatest football player of all time and not include Lawrence Taylor and not include Jim Brown. And nobody saw Jim Brown, so he's usually shoved a little.
Yeah.
But you can't use
The
Lawrence
Jim
Taylor.
Brown
But-
argument's really tough, though, because of longevity-wise. I mean, that's
right.
just
Well,
tough.
He played 9 years.
I know, but it's tough. People look at it differently now.
Right, but in basketball, Tom Brady has emerged, I think, as the winner because of a number.
Yeah.
Okay? In basketball, the perceived GOAT for most people is Michael Jordan.
Correct.
And he's got numbers. He doesn't have any numbers that are better than everybody else.
Correct.
As far as he was 6-0 in the finals. I mean, give me a guy who's 6-3 over a guy who's 6-0. That's just me.
However, he set the standard.
Right. Well, nobody's saying Michael Jordan isn't great or anything like that. I'm just saying that.
But that's why the GOAT conversation happens, is because he set a standard.
Right, but he doesn't have the most points.
You're right.
He doesn't have the most. He has. I mean, Kareem has as many. Kareem has more MVPs. He has the same amount of championships. So, I mean, there's something beyond numbers has given Michael Jordan that GOAT status.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you ask anybody who watched him play when he was playing, they say, well, if you watched him, you know.
Yeah.
And that's there's a lot of veracity in that. But I watch Kareem as well.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. But baseball is the one that's crazy because at least in football and basketball, you talk about it, and you can go back and forth. I mean, Michael is considered, but you got Kareem and LeBron and everybody, and then football you got your guys. In baseball,
but when you're not chasing a greatest of all time number,
that's the thing. That's the number.
When there's no numbers to be chasing, of the guys that are playing right now, none of them are chasing any of those.
No, you're right.
Those GOAT numbers. So that's why there isn't that conversation of greatest of all time in baseball of current guys. And I said 25 years. I got to back that up because there were guys like Ricky Henderson and stuff that would be considered greatest of all time.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, maybe in the last 15 to 20.
Okay.
But they're just not chasing those greatest of all time numbers. That's why we're not having those conversations about the younger generation.
And that's true. I mean, but if you did have those things, that would keep baseball. I mean, you bring up a perfect point. Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson, if you just think back, he was a great base fielder and stuff, but he was so much more than that. He deserved to be considered one of the greatest of all time. So you could have a conversation with him, but there's no conversations anymore about that. You know,
there really isn't.
I mean, if you're a Tom Brady guy, people will acknowledge your 7 and everything, but I'm going to still push back with Lawrence Taylor or somebody else. And in basketball, you're going to have people pushing back, and at least you'll have that conversation.
Yeah.
In baseball, you really don't have the conversation, and that's to the detriment of baseball.
Only when you go into the archives and you start looking through the archives.
Speaking of baseball, and speaking of our buddy Max.
Love you, Max. Thank you, buddy.
It was an exciting weekend on Twitter because this is the weekend that D1 baseball and D2, I imagine, too. College baseball started.
Baseball kicked off for college.
It is so great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Seeing Potters
everywhere
on Twitter.
Everywhere.
I was just going nuts. It was so fun. There was guys that were mentioned I forgot were even on the Potters. But I mean Zach Patterson, okay?
Yep.
Zach Bushling.
Yep.
Tyler Cochran.
Yep.
Isaiah Garcia
all over now.
All over the place.
Okay.
Zach Patterson got himself a save, and Bushling's at Connecticut, and there's other guys that I'm blanking.
Boho got a hit the other day.
Boho was fantastic.
That's right.
Borges,
for
Sac
Sierra.
State.
Or Sac State, excuse me.
Daniel Susak down in Arizona. T.J. Nichols pitched today.
Nichols went 5 strong, two earned, 3 Ks.
Daniel got his first hit and then his first extra base hit. And there's a lot more. I mean, Ryan McCarthy.
Oh, Lord.
And just all kinds of other guys J.C. Santini.
Michael Potter.
Oh, man, all kinds of. Hunter Hayes was pitching.
Yes.
I mean, fantastic. The only guy I didn't see was Charles Middleton. I don't know why he didn't play for Pacific, so I was going to investigate that.
Actually, it was the week prior. He was named. He's
like a preseason All-American.
Yeah, preseason All-American.
Yeah.
Is it Pac-8?
No, he's
what are
Pacific
they?
is in a different one.
Pacific. I
West
can't
Coast
remember.
Conference.
But he was named as preseason. Yes,
but I didn't see him playing this. I didn't see him in the lineup this weekend. So hopefully Charles is okay. But I mean, there's Nolan Young. We saw Nolan Young. We saw a bunch of other guys. Nathan Martorella. And Keyshawn Ogunson down at Cal.
Yes,
fantastic. I just love seeing these guys. It's just so fun because a lot of times when we would broadcast the games, they hadn't reached that level yet.
Yes.
I mean, Daniel's obviously still in high school. And Charles we knew was great, but really it was coming out of Sierra.
TJ's high school.
All these guys, TJ high school, all these guys, we saw them. Matt Volker down at Loyola Marymount. We saw these guys, and some of them weren't really ascending to starter status yet.
Yeah.
Some of them had, but some of them were kind of like Zach Arnold at LSU is one of them.
That is amazing.
I listened one of the little clips when he got his first hit or something like a 2-run single or something. They talked about him that he was on the team last year, but he really didn't do much. And then we saw him.
Flourish.
He was fantastic.
Yes.
All of a sudden, boom, Zach Arnold. I just love seeing those guys. I'm so excited for Potters this season.
Really, really am
just
excited, man.
And I bet Ryan and JP and the guys when they see that, they're just going nuts.
I was talking to Ryan the other day, and really pumped up for the season. He feels like this is going to be one of the better seasons that the Lincoln Potters have had. Very, very happy with the arms that are coming in. We're seeing what the guys that they've been through the program.
Yeah.
What's great about this is guys that are coming into the Potters for the first time are seeing guys that have been in the Potter program flourishing at D1, D2 schools all over the country.
Every guy out there is an advertisement to the next guy.
Exactly.
And it's going to be fantastic.
It's just bringing them back in.
And hopefully we'll get a couple of guys back. But, they're getting farther along in their careers now, so they may not be you do things connected with your school more.
We'll always love you, but we want you to go on to bigger and bigger
fly,
things.
Robin, fly
That's
is what
right.
we say.
That's right.
We just want to see you get – the next thing is when we have the Potters draft party.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, man, that'll be fantastic.
I got
Dana
Dana Susak going in first.
I don't know. I hope so. I don't know when fans will be allowed back into McBean or how many, if it'll be a small segment. But I just can't imagine the excitement, the electricity of that place.
Oh, dude,
in 3 months, almost exactly 3 months from now. Oh, it's gonna be incredible.
This season is going to be incredible for a lot of reasons, and one of the reasons I think is because of the pent up desire to get out
everything
and just feel the game of baseball again. And even if and I really hope this isn't the case, but even if it's just you and I in the toy in the box with Willie and the guys on the field, we'll do it because we know how much it means to the people that are out there,
and we are updating every aspect of it to bring you a better description and view and everything.
I can't wait,
of the game.
I can't wait. You even want to talk about what we might be doing here and what we are doing in March? You don't even want to talk about it yet?
Nope. Well, no, not yet.
Okay, all right. No, that's cool. No, that means we have stuff coming.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to what I call Oddity Corner. Two things. One of them kind of funny, one of them not funny. The first one is the NHL had a hockey game outside, and it was sunny, and the ice melted. Who knew?
Shocker.
Who knew? Is this the person who's putting the vaccine distribution together? I mean, come on, right? I mean, it's almost if it was in a skit, you'd go, no, that's nothing would happen because obviously they would have figured that out before they did it.
I thought it was in Charlie Brown. I thought I read this in Charlie Brown.
I like
when
it.
I was a kid.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah,
this is pathetic.
Lucy pulls the football back and Charlie sinks into the ice. It's just, I mean, it's almost like I told you, Americans are not good at their jobs anymore.
No.
And whoever's supposed to figure out
common sense is gone.
The temperature outside and the ice consistency or whatever. I mean, there are people who can figure that stuff out.
Just
because
it's
one of them.
Tahoe doesn't mean it's going to be cold.
However many people play hockey at one time, double that for two teams, and they're going to be going through the ice, and all of a sudden they show on SportsCenter, they show it, and it's almost like some guy is like fought one of those things where the kid went out too far on the ice and he fell through, Margaret. We have to go save him. They pull him out, and he's like, he's not going to be right. Or like Jimmy Stewart, and
he's not going to be right.
It's a Wonderful Life when he saved his brother. And he couldn't hear. He got 4F there.
That was
I tell you, I was going out to save him.
That was
great.
Absolutely embarrassing.
Wasn't that the worst?
And it's not
they
only,
finished the game at like 8 at night or something.
I know, but not only is it embarrassing for the NHL, but it's embarrassing for the people there to play. Because
oh my God, it's terrible.
They're the face. They're the people there that represent the NHL.
You're not supposed to fall through the playing surface.
And they couldn't even provide them a decent place to skate.
And it's not a decent. Not only that, it's like you're going to do this outside and the sun's going to be out. Okay, that sounds like
so.
Fun.
Then let's all throw on rollerblades and roll over to Harvey's and we'll play some street hockey.
Oh yeah,
that's what they should have done.
That's what they should have done, and they should have also gone inside and then come back. They go hang out at Harvey's for a while. That's bad. Now, the other thing that's not funny, I don't think, is that the Timberwolves fired their coach, Ryan Saunders. They fired him.
Flip's son.
And they hired another guy right away who was on the bench of another team.
They had
the
this in their
Raptors
mind.
assistant coach. Well, I don't know all the rules about basketball.
Tampering.
But isn't that under tampering? Isn't there a picture of the guy on the bench on the other team, and all of a sudden he's taken this job? What did you call him? Did you fire Saunders and call this guy during a game and go, "Hey, you want to be our coach?" I don't think so.
Well, I
don't understand how that can happen.
I think that would be tampering if you called him during a game.
Right, but you can call him beforehand because nobody's going anywhere and talk to him. That's just, I feel so bad for Saunders. I mean, obviously the Timberwolves were bad,
you
but
feel bad
Towns
for him to an extent.
He missed half the season already. This season was terrible.
I realize that. But
the Timberwolves have a bad team, but that's
Saunders
not the
hadn't
point.
gone anywhere though.
But I feel okay.
He hasn't shown anything in Minnesota in 100 and some odd games.
130 some games,
right?
something like
he
that.
Hasn't shown anything, even so when Townsend, he had his squad. He hasn't shown anything, and I feel like Minnesota they're like Sacramento. Okay, you're on the edge at all times.
No, you're right.
If you're not producing, we have to make a move, and we're not going to ship out a bunch of high-paid athletes.
No, you're right. But,
I
mean, the fact is that means that, and I saw a headline before it came over, it's like the Timberwolves players knew that the coach was getting fired. Okay, so this guy had to be in a terrible situation because he's coaching, he's working, and behind the scenes, they're already calling a guy on another team, which I don't know how you can do that.
Well, I agree with you that it's 100% tampering because there's no way you can actually hire a guy from another team during the season without tampering. There's there's no way you can communicate him without tampering.
Right. Now,
right?
someone said maybe they asked the Raptors.
But why didn't they bring
general
one of the
manager
assistants up?
Well, here's the thing, Stone.
That's what I don't understand.
There's an African American gentleman.
Okay.
I think his name was David Vanderpool. I think that's right.
Okay.
Who's on the bench for the Timberwolves, who has 10 to 12 years of experience in all the things that you need to be a coach.
And so they
you know
don't
what
even.
I'm saying? He started at the bottom
Yeah.
in like 2010, 20. He was like a personnel director. Like
He's worked his ass off.
Like we said about the general manager when the Kings hired one. I want him to have a resume full of jobs that you need to do in order to become a general manager.
Yes.
And I want to never have heard of him before. And both of those were true.
Yeah.
But in this case, this guy has put down everything. He's done everything that you can do to prepare yourself to become a coach. And they passed him over to hire this other coach. Now, this other coach had connections with the president of the Timberwolves from earlier, but that's not really the problem right now.
That's not the problem.
The problem is this optically is horrible.
Yeah.
And
Without a doubt.
the number I heard was that a quarter of the coaches, a quarter of the coaches are black, and 3/4 of the players are black.
Correct.
And when you have a situation like this, you can look at it as a one-on-one and say, well, in this case, this guy had a prior relationship, and that's why it happened. But if you're like an African-American person in any walk of life, you've seen this same story play out time after time and time.
Over.
It's not a case-by-case basis for you because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a case-by-case. There's always going to be a personal connection or something. With every job that comes up, you're going to have that. So if you're an African American guy waiting or just somebody watching, and you're going, well, why am I surprised?
Why did
they did it again? Why did I even get my hopes up? They have a perfectly good candidate from all the, and there's been some chatter from the rest of the league talking about this guy, the coach, going, why didn't they hire this guy? And the fact that they didn't, even though, as we say, they had their own reasons, they're going to ring hollow. And it's going to be one of those things that they're going to point to and say, what about that?
Well,
we are used to that because that happens to us all the time.
All
and
the time.
You guys say, well, that's a one in a lifetime. No, it happens to us all the time.
Well, and us as consumers can see it happening constantly
Right.
as well.
And we want to see your guy get rewarded for putting in the time. I don't want him to get plucked out because he was a great player and give him a team.
No.
I want him to do the work. And this guy is on the bench for a decade.
See, the part that bothered me more than anything is that I started thinking about it. I cannot remember the last time a head coach was fired mid-season that they brought in a new guy from outside.
2009.
Normally they bring them off of the bench.
Well, yeah, it's an interim guy.
And you become the interim guy, and then you work on an interim tag, and then they figure out whether they're going to replace you or not.
Right. So
how come they didn't go with normal protocol in the situation and to get them through, just to get them through the next week?
Yeah, because you just get to the halfway point and you have a couple of days off.
Exactly.
Timberwolves obviously don't have to worry about the All-Star game.
No.
So you have a couple of days off and you can, we're going to have a conversation or something like that.
I saw no logic.
This is just, and there's FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And there's another one, there's another OLO. Now this is so-so.
YOLO.
This is so-so.
You only live once.
Yeah,
YOLO.
so-so. Same old, same old.
Same old, same
That's
old.
what I'm calling this. This is a so-so.
Okay.
Because it's, like I say, you're an African-American looking at this from outside going,
yeah,
I don't know why I'm surprised. This happens every single time.
And it's happening in every major sport.
It's happening everywhere.
I just read the thing in the NFL about how the Rooney Rule is literally not working and it hasn't worked since been a while. And why hasn't it worked? Because nobody is actually paying attention.
Because we make all these allocation, all these adjustments.
Oh,
to
you're
it.
a friend
It's a-
of.
but in this case, it's okay because it's
Yeah.
Urban Meyer.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's only had a couple of problems. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Nope.
So you can't do that. So
Nope.
yeah, that was pretty bad. The other thing, I don't know if I told you this. I think I wanted to tell you this last show and I forgot, and I forgot on the generation gap, and then last Thursday I finally remembered to tell Zach I am boycotting the All-Star game.
Yes.
I'm not watching it. I'm not taking part. I enjoyed.
You're not
listening.
taking part this year?
I'm not.
You
even,
were. They asked you to
I'm
shoot
not going to be in the
threes.
celebrity game. I'm not doing anything. But
All right.
I enjoy seeing who's going to make the team. Well,
Yeah.
we've discussed who's going to make the team, and I think the reserves are announced tomorrow, and so we'll probably go over that a little bit on the generation gap tomorrow at 6. But obviously the game is being played contrary to the best interests of the players. And I just can't. I mean, at some point, I got to say enough.
Well,
there's no way they should play that game.
And contrary to a lot of the players' belief that the game should be played.
Right. I think everybody's coming in tow. But you know something? If LeBron pulls the plug, that game is dead in the doornail.
Well, I mean, he put out a stance right from the get-go. He goes, no, this shouldn't be played under the restrictions that everybody is under. And he wasn't speaking for himself. He was speaking for the league.
Right.
No, we shouldn't play. And I've heard your take on this. We have not talked about it, but I've heard your take, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay, good.
There is no reason. You still name the All-Stars. You still name the starters.
And the
okay?
reserves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You name all and you go, you guys have a great weekend.
Right, yeah.
Okay, you get the next 4 days off.
And what are they doing? Yeah, and like I said, the last game is the 4th of March. The All-Star game is the 7th, and they're back playing again on the 10th. And remember, they don't have the second part of the schedule made yet. Well, maybe they do, but they haven't released it.
Well, that hasn't been released.
And there are at least 30 games that have to be made up.
Yes.
How are you going to put those in there?
Why wouldn't you use the All-Star break to help fix some of the issues
Make
that
a couple
you had?
of those up, or if you're going to have the All-Star break. I mean, now maybe they can talk about a nightmare.
How are you profiting off of it,
trying to make a well, it's TV money from TNT.
Is it only TV money?
In I haven't not read.
Because there's no fans. There's
no fans, but you get the sponsors pay for the commercials, and they have to pay you if you run the commercials during the game.
That's true.
Because they're not paying for a Buick commercial on a Sunday. They're paying for a Buick commercial on a Sunday between 6:30 and 9:30, probably right near the second quarter. You know what I mean? Like a Super Bowl thing.
Yes,
so that's all the money. That's the only reason, in my mind, that they're playing it. And it's just, I'm sorry, but in this crazy world we find ourselves, it's just not enough. You're putting these people have to move. They have to go from their teams to the All-Stars, back to teams with all, like Zach was pointing out, with representatives from most of the teams in the same place.
Don't you have to quarantine when you're traveling, though?
Ted Cruz didn't.
I mean, I'm just saying, isn't there like quarantine restrictions when you're going one state to another state?
And you can bring 4 people or you can bring 2 people, and those all have to be tested. When are you going to do all this stuff?
No, I think Adam Silver and the powers that be in the NBA, they made a bad decision with this one. I understand money driven. I understand money driven because of the amount of money lost last year.
I do. I understand that too.
We all get it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, hey, Phantom, you lost money last year. I lost money last year. Yeah. Okay? We all lost money. NBA, you weren't the only ones. Right. This isn't the way to go get it back.
Okay. We're way behind. I don't know what's happened to you today. I do want to mention, these are 2 things I saw.
Can we talk about the Kings?
Over the past couple. We can't talk. I don't have time.
Well, I just wanted to fire fire Walton.
No, we're not firing Walton right now. We'll fire him tomorrow on the Generation Gap. We're going to do a deep dive into the Kings.
Okay, please. Okay, please.
I don't have time today. I'm sorry.
No, well, figure it out.
These are things I saw over the weekend.
Get your ass together.
I didn't get a lot of information, but from what I can understand, Sacramento will be host to the World's Strongest Man competition this year and the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships.
Okay, that I'm into. Okay, I could care 2 craps about the strongest person in Sacramento. Or, I mean,
World's Strongest Man, dude.
Whatever.
It's the guy on Game of Thrones, the Mountain.
I've seen those guys. Can you pick up one of them boulders and set it on a thing? Because that's what they do.
I can't pick up the garbage and take it
I don't care about any of it, but I can disc golf. All right?
This is what I was going to talk about with you.
Yeah.
We need to get Stones Radio Networks credentialed and send Toy to the Disc Golf Championships or the Strongest Man Championships live on-site reporting.
Okay. You know what?
I love it. Or if you wanted to do
I will volunteer to do the disc golf one. Let him go do the strong little wiener guys.
I don't know. Well, you can audition for it. But, yeah, we need to get credentialed because those two events, it's funny to say, but they weren't really not a lot of hoopla
There's
about
not a lot
them,
of buzz.
But these things can be awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Both of them in their own way are cult things, right?
You bet, dude. The following in disc golf is ridiculous. Where do you have a...
I don't know where in Sacramento they'd be doing it. I don't know.
Well, there's lots of courses around here. I can take you to all of them.
I'm sure you can look. I'm sure it's online. We can look it up and find out. But
absolutely.
I think we have to get credentialed, and if we start now, say, hey.
When are they coming up soon in the next month?
I'd have to look. I don't know.
Crap, dude.
Look it up.
Toy, you're hearing this. Do it now.
Yeah, do it now. Look it up and see when it is because I'm thinking. I was thinking Toy at the disc golf, but if you're a disc golf aficionado,
he can't even throw. He could throw a frisbee, but not a disc.
I'll put him at the strongest man. Then
that's a better
idea.
We'll see
about that. But exciting, both things exciting for Sacramento.
Sacramento's
Fantastic.
up and coming, dude.
Finally, a little football talk.
Okay, we can do that.
We got to help Toy. I don't understand.
There's no helping that guy.
I don't understand.
He's rooting for the wrong
And we've
team.
been saying this for a month now, and that's the sad part. I don't understand what's going on in Dallas. I don't understand why they paid this guy $31 million last year and have made all public statements that they want him back, and yet everybody else has a signed contract, and he doesn't have a signed contract. And I don't know what the business – is it a business decision? Is Jerry Jones just pissed about something?
I think it's personal, man. I honestly think it's personal.
Has Dak showed him up?
I don't think it's a show-up thing at all. I think it's personal, and I think I've explained this to the Toy, and he doesn't like hearing this, but I've explained this to him, and I think I'm relatively right on this. They have Andy Dalton. Now, you and I both know that Andy Dalton is not a starting quarterback. He was one.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy that you want running your team, especially with the way you're set up right now.
Especially the Dallas Cowboys.
You don't want that.
Right.
However, Jerry Jones has a real affinity for white quarterbacks. And and he has made it abundantly clear that he has a stance. He has a personal stance on the way the world is operating currently.
But how does that incorporate his own quarterback that he says he loves?
He has said it, but you only prove things with actions, as we all know.
It's a great point.
And he has yet in 2+ years, he has yet to pay Dak Prescott.
I agree.
He hasn't even floated the idea of giving him a multi-year contract. Every contract that they've been submitting to Dallas has been rejected and come back with a franchise tag, and that is it.
He has paid Ezekiel Elliott.
He
He paid, I think I don't even remember the pass rusher's name. He's paid a couple of African American players.
Absolutely.
Is it just quarterback that he has a problem with?
Quarterback.
Because he paid his
he paid Amari Cooper.
He paid his linebacker way too early.
Oh, I know. He paid Amari Cooper. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Okay, very good.
I'm not having an issue, and I don't think he's having an issue with that. The face of his franchise. The face of your franchise is your quarterback.
Okay, but it's been the quarterback for how many years? 3 years? 4 years?
Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Tony Romo.
Dandy Don Meredith.
Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Craig Morton.
Okay.
Danny White.
Roger
Staubach.
Okay.
A lot of teams haven't had a lot of black quarterbacks.
No, I understand this, but Jerry Jones did not come out during Black Lives Matter ever in the 9 months and say anything.
All right.
He last year had a player kneel, a defensive lineman kneel during an anthem.
Okay.
The next day he was cut for performance issues.
Performance anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was no performance issue. Okay. There is a track record, and again, it's about what you do, not what you say. He can tell me he loves everybody, but until he actually does it, and he hasn't opened his wallet.
And how does it end, Stones?
How does it end?
How does it possibly end?
It's
he can't if
it's Al Davis.
But
it's an Al Davis situation.
that
I
is-
hate to say it, but it's an Al Davis
But if that's
situation.
really the situation, if that's really the sticking point for him, then this is an untenable situation.
This is an untenable situation.
So then he's got to go. He's got to go back to his white quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Andy Dalton is going to lose, so you're not going to win.
So he's gonna get another one.
So what is he? Who was out? He didn't get Carson.
He's gonna go
he
find
didn't get
one.
Matt Stafford,
He's
which
gonna-
is, as you know, I've been talking about
I
Matt
know.
Stafford in Dallas for a long time.
that would have been a good move.
Is he going to trade up and try to get? Well, who's he going to get? Justin Fields? I doubt it. Trey Lance, maybe.
Trey Lance, yeah.
Is that going to be his move?
I don't know.
mean, I see what you're saying to me.
What
I
I'm
have a
saying to
hard
you
time,
makes too much sense,
but I
but
have a
believing
hard
it.
time listening to it. I
I
really
know,
do.
I know.
I really do.
I know.
Because when you're a shrewd businessman,
I know.
as I believe him to be, at some point, and again, I would never say, and I would never trust anybody who says, I don't see color.
Yes.
Because obviously you see color.
You have to.
That's why you have eyes, so you can see differences.
Exactly.
You see things.
That way we
okay.
can talk about
It's
it.
whether you let that color affect you. know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But what does he do then? How does he rectify the situation?
Well, again, that's why I said one of the reasons why he went out and paid Andy Dalton the Andy Dalton money. Because remember, he didn't get backup quarterback money.
He got
Okay.
pretty good money, but he didn't get
Got
starter money.
No, but he got $18 million.
Okay, that's
Okay?
a lot.
That's better than backup quarterback
No,
money.
it's way better than
Okay.
backup quarterback money.
He paid him for a reason. He has. And again, this could be complete. It is complete conjecture on my part.
All right.
Okay, because I do
It
not
sounds
know
like
him.
you've given it some thought.
But
though.
I have watched this scenario play out for 2 years with Dak Prescott.
Okay.
And Dak Prescott, I will admit that I gave Dak Prescott a hard time, not knowing he was going to be as good as he is, but I saw the upside. And I saw that the fact that
Right.
Dallas should have acted after that first year.
He's a good leader.
Yes, and they didn't. And then year 2 comes, and
Yeah.
then they're going to slap a franchise tag on a guy who everybody on the planet in the NFL wants.
And that's the one
On their
position you
team.
want set. We were talking about Tatis. You want your quarterback to be a 6-year deal guy.
It's the most
because you want him there.
influential. It's
Yes.
the most influential on
And
your
that gives
team.
stability to your entire organization.
Yes, and unfortunately, there's a part, in my opinion, there's a part of Jerry that lets his personal feelings get involved
It's sad.
in this particular case. It doesn't make any sense unless you look at it from just this case or just this position, okay? Because he's not taking this position on other players.
No, he's not.
But those aren't his face of his franchise.
We'll see what happens. I definitely watch this with interest. A couple of other ones. We know Wentz went to Indianapolis. They got a second and a third, which isn't very much. It could be a first and a third. It's not very much. We know that, but he had to go. The thing that I think
he had to go.
the problem with the Eagles now is not the compensation they either did or didn't get. It's Hurts. Is he the guy? He hasn't given you enough to show that he is the guy. If you look at his number, I mean, I remember watching him when he came in and he kind of looked impressive. But if you look at his numbers, they're not that great.
No, they're not.
So it's not enough to give you confidence that he's the guy. So now they've got to figure out what they want to do next. And that's the Eagles. They had a situation. They had to get rid of it. Okay, throw out the baby. We had to get rid of it. We got a third, and we got maybe a first or a second. So we got something.
We got something.
It's football, so those could be big picks.
Dude, Wentz and Peterson weren't even talking.
Yeah,
okay?
so we had to get rid of
had
them.
to go.
I don't have a problem with that from what the Eagles got. Okay, what I have a problem with is now that they're left with Hurts. I'm not convinced that he's the guy.
I'm not convinced either.
So what do they use that number 6 pick in the first round on another quarterback, or do they try to? What do they try to do?
Well, it depends on what happens in the market between now and draft day.
Okay.
And a lot of that, because I think there's potentially like 15 quarterbacks still out there that have move possibilities.
Right, but they're not.
Okay. No, I'm just saying there's possibilities. So you can't lock yourself into anything right now until the draft comes, because if something happens out there on the free agent market and you can find yourself a backup. I mean, I don't know if the Niners get rid of CJ Beathard. Maybe Philly brings in CJ as a backup to Jalen, because why not? We're paying
Well, you got to
Jalen.
get a good backup.
We're
for Jalen
paying
Hurts.
nothing for Jalen right now,
right.
so let's run him out there and see if he's got
Right.
what we think he has, because that's why we brought him in the first
The
place.
irony is that Andy Dalton would be perfect for the Eagles now.
There's a lot of places that
Andy Dalton would be a backup, and he's getting $37 million. He's getting more than Dak Prescott now.
Everywhere.
He's getting more than Dak Prescott.
100%, dude. So.
Okay, so I think that's going to be something that's really a problem because I don't know the answer to that. I would like Hurts to be the guy, but he has not shown.
He hasn't shown it, but I think the opportunity is there.
Okay,
for him.
but like you say, he's got to be backed up by a known commodity.
I agree.
Okay,
I
the other two,
agree. Cam Newton's out there.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
I'm just saying.
Big Ben. What goes on with Big Ben?
Big Ben.
Sounds like the Steelers don't really have Big Ben's interest at heart, and boy, my heart is breaking over that.
Yeah. Everybody's heart is breaking over that. I see them reconciling for a single year.
Oh, okay.
I see
a 1 year deal, or one more year,
or a year and an option.
Okay.
Something along those lines. I see them reconciling. I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh just yet, but I do see the end being in Pittsburgh. I don't see Big Ben. I don't see Big Ben jumping to another team.
I surmise that he is physically not. I mean, he took a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He took a beating a lot.
So if they'll give him,
he kept plays going for 10 years that should have been stopped.
Yeah. So if they'll give him some, if they'll give him a year, he'll take it.
Okay.
But I don't think he'd jump ship to find another team just to play for another year. I don't see that in Big Ben.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who you grab to do that anyway.
No.
Really. And the other one is Teddy Bridgewater. There's a lot of talk about Carolina, who has the number 8 pick.
Yeah.
Doing something with the pick and Teddy Bridgewater. And the 49ers have evidently expressed some interest in Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I liked Teddy Bridgewater a couple years ago. I don't know that I would make him the target of any of my trades.
I don't like him as a start. I told you this before. I don't like him as a starting quarterback.
Okay.
I don't think Teddy has what it takes to be a starter, be a face of a franchise. So if they want to try to make something happen over there, that's fine. Keep him out of San Francisco because you're not upgrading at quarterback. I don't think you're getting a different style of quarterback, but I don't think it's an upgrade.
I agree, and I'm with you. I don't know that I'm going out to grab Teddy as my starter anyway.
Yeah.
Carolina seems to be ready to move off him at the number 8 spot. As you know how this is, quarterbacks are spread through the first round. Closer you get to the draft, the more they do the accordion thing, and all of a sudden you got 5 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, and you're sitting over there going, I
didn't even know that
we have our choice of one guy. We have to take this guy now? So it gets crazy. But, I mean, if they make that decision, Teddy Bridgewater was always the guy I rooted for.
Yeah.
But it's not a guy that obviously I had Carolina a wide receiver, so I watched Carolina sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know about this. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. I don't think you should go after him.
I don't like him as a starter. They need to do something. They need to do something there in Jacksonville. They have to.
Carolina.
They
have to do something in Jacksonville too.
Jacksonville's another story, but in Carolina, they absolutely have to do something. You can't waste the last year and a half of McCaffrey before he's not going to be functional anymore.
Yeah.
Because you literally have gone nowhere in 2 MVP seasons of McCaffrey doing stuff, and you're only going to get about another year and a half out of that.
You're not getting out of what he's put in.
Yes.
You haven't really realized.
You haven't reaped any of the benefit.
And finally, I am right now, Houston is digging their heels in again. And they're not, the thing is,
Deshaun's gone. They can dig in their heels all they want.
Deshaun could be gone, but if more I dig in my heels, the bigger that package is going to get. I need 3 first-round picks for that guy, at least.
That's why the report that I read that Bill Belichick is out there currently working every single angle and looking to see if he can get Jimmy G back into San Francisco.
I've heard you mean back from San Francisco?
Back from San Francisco.
I agree. I've heard that too, and it makes sense. Although I don't know, I feel a little bit sorry for whoever's at quarterback because they don't have a lot of weapons there.
No, I'm not disagreeing at all, but I'm just saying when you say that package is going to get bigger in Houston, there's only a couple of teams out there that can do it, and the one team that jumps off the page to me is the New England Patriots.
I've got the same division. I've got Miami.
Okay, well,
Miami's going to throw Tua on the way back.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, so that means that they're moving on from Tua.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's fine. They're going to get what? What are they going to do in the quarterbacking department?
For who? For Miami?
For Miami.
They're going to get Deshaun Watson.
No, because remember, I'm telling you that.
No,
You're telling me in your package.
I'm saying I'm going to the same division.
In your package.
The Dolphins can put together a package.
No, you're right. They do have the picks.
We got Tua. We've got a bunch of picks.
Yes.
And Deshaun Watson's not coming to a team that's gutted.
I think anybody who takes Tua as an option for a starting quarterback, I think is going to be sadly mistaken.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, but on the other hand, if it was that trade, at least I'd have somebody I can put back there. Now, it would be the Texans, so he would be taking the job at his own peril to his own life. Because, I mean, Deshaun barely getting out with his life.
And
so
everybody else in Houston's leaving.
Be sad. So it's just, I know, and that's...
The whole team is like, dude, I want to go somewhere else.
But doesn't that make you realize how poorly run it is and why Deshaun is so adamant about not playing there anymore?
And that's why I believe
And then
he won't.
you say he's not going to play, but then they're not going to trade him. But now I know why he doesn't want to play because the team has just been gutted.
I guarantee you he will. If they don't trade him, he will sit.
All right, final thing. And it's a one-word answer. I don't want any equivocation. And then we're going to leave. J.J. Watt is on what team next year?
San Francisco.
There you go. J.J. Watt's on the 49ers. That is the POS show for another Monday. He is Stones McCoy. I'm the Phantom. Tomorrow night, the Generation Gap, Zach Lowe and myself at 6 o'clock. Wednesday, Unscripted. And Stones is back another day, Sunday?
Sunday.
Oh, more importantly, Wednesday, Stones has his own show. It's called Colonoscopy, and we hope he does a really, really good job. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time on the POS show.